So we're going to do this round of 8 match, and there's going to be in the bottom left-hand side, our blue Terran player from Team Liquid is Clem. Here in the quarterfinals of the Afreeca Champions Cup. This was played in early November. Again, we're just using it as some cool kind of filler content when we need some replays to cast. It's been definitely serving us well in that regard. As in the top right side, our red Protoss player is going to be herO. Obviously, Clem and herO are very fun players to match against each other. herO likes to be aggressive, so does Clem. Can lead you into a lot of very fun games and situations. I remember that series in Valencia was a very fun best of 5. I mean, that was one which we thought was... I mean, Clem had it almost on lockdown. The first 2 games looked so convincing from him. He got 2-0 lead, and herO obviously went and turned it around, reverse swept. That was obviously how long ago was Valencia? 4 months ago now. And honestly, on any given day, I can see Clem taking down herO. herO is dangerous, don't get me wrong. I think a lot of people give herO a lot of credit. I think a lot of people would put herO as like a pretty big favorite, maybe even on this series. I do think Clem can put up a very good fight, and I would say it's a lot closer to 50-50, but it's a very volatile 50-50 in the sense that this can be a in the sense that this can go from basically being a like a 3-2, a 3-0 either way. Like, I can see any of those results happening, you know, like this is a match which can have so much variation in the final result, I suppose is what I'm trying to say. Which is very cool, very exciting, and this is going to be herO already getting aggressive this game, as first of all, the probe was having a great time, and now we're going to also have the Stargate dropping down proxy, this pylon set up previously, and now making use of it. We put that into position. Let's see how this Stargate goes. We'll see what we build off of this Stargate as well. As we drop the pylon in, just onto the main base. Down the Reaper of Clem continues to the upper right-hand side also. Heading up here, going to hop into the main and just try to see what he can do. He's noticed obviously the lack of a nexus on the natural. That is an immediate sign that something is a little bit off from the norm, so Clem will be very happy with that straight away. As we drop our command center down in the main base as well, it's going to be seeing the Stargate is finishing. Over on the left-hand side, we start up an Oracle, and away we go. Cyclone of Clem gets started as well, so he's just going to be... He's expanding, obviously, late himself. He's got that expansion just on recently. He went factory early, and we'll be utilizing that to his advantage. Oracle is not far from finishing. Again, the warp gate about halfway done. And the next is about halfway along here as well from herO. Just continue to bring all of this into play. The 2 adepts of herO will make their way out down to the south side. So they're going to go in all the way down to the bottom. And just going to see Clem's follow-up here as well. 2 more barracks after the factory. So, yeah, a little bit of kind of safety with the factory at first, but then definitely looking to, you know, after that, kind of move in towards the kind of heavy bio play. And definitely will open up some timing. It's going to be a pretty fast stim on the board. That's one thing to immediately be thinking about, right? Those are the things to be watching for here. 2 oracles together just going to come and sit just out the front. We're really waiting to see if herO's going to be able to create any sort of damage. I mean, he's got this group of units over here, these couple of adepts that do begin to shade on by, and again, just kind of threatening throughout with this at the moment, so let's see if there's anything that can in fact be done. And again, just getting another oracle out and just building up these numbers, keeping Clem a little bit contained, trying to slow down the taking of the 3rd base, of the natural base, sorry. The longer you slow that down, the better it's probably going to turn out to be in reality. So, yeah, just trying to do that to the best of our ability. Is a little lock on from the Cyclone helps push this back. The stasis ward will slow things down, though. SCVs do not get caught in it as the Oracles dive for a siege tank. Triple Oracle doing very well, and like I say, we're getting some SCVs now as well. Clem activates the stasis, but in activating the stasis, he actually puts himself in a bit of a weird place because now this command center is blocked by the SCV that's stasis. It's a nice final lock on. Do we need the scan? We did need the scan for the final shot, and he didn't have it, so Unfortunately, the Oracle gets away. There could have at least been 2 Oracles killed. Now it's just the 1. And we get one of these Adepts as well. Cyclone's just a couple shots away, just a few seconds of attacking sooner away from being able to succeed on that. But kind of a crazy state of affairs. You see Clem's work count is obviously in the gutter. 15 workers behind his opponent. It's going to come down to armies here. It's a lot of Marines. Stimpack is not far from being done. I mean, it's a lot of damage output from Clem. Very worried that herO doesn't have a battery yet. He's been so focused on the aggression. He's not really thought about defending all that much at all. So yeah, Clem getting across would be pretty neat. He's going to get rid of another Oracle, so slows down the damage that will be done by the Oracles onto these mineral lines, although low HP SCVs are going to drop very quickly. Battery is so close to being done now. You've got to imagine that if Clem doesn't strike before the battery's ready, it's going to be extremely difficult for him to really break through. And the Stalker count's increasing as well. We've got Stim, we've got Combat Shields, we've got the Siege Tank as the Adepts kind of shade in without the Stalkers helping, so that's costly for herO. Loses 2 Adepts for basically nothing. Clem just doesn't have that much anymore. Like, before it looked like Clem had an overwhelming amount. Now you look at these Warpins that have arrived for herO, and they've been spot on time to help him out as this battery will fall, though. And again, without a battery, there'll be some question marks, but we're also now going to have Blink available, although herO supply blocked. This tank kind of needs to siege. Blink will allow you to blink on top of this tank straight away. That maybe gives the bio units a good chance to fight the Stalkers. You got to remember, though, that herO will continue to reinforce immediately into this fight. The probes are doing some good tanking, and there's just not enough bio here to really make the difference. He is going to kill, well, he's going to kill 7 workers. It puts herO at only a 12-worker lead, so not as much as it was. But Clem gave up his entire army for this. Now herO is going to take map control with Blink available on the Stalkers as well. So things are getting much better for him to be able to continue through. And at the same time, just going to see this little Bioforce up in towards the ramp. And just going to sit between main and natural for a few moments. Tank shots fire, a couple Stalkers get pushed back. The Oracles will activate and a few SCVs begin to go down. The Oracles trying to get rid of the Siege Tank, not quite able to. The SCVs come in as heroes preparing and responding, but there's a big blink. There is the tank going down. The 2 Marauders want to try and take advantage. They will chase and they will kill off a Stalker. Big pickings. Now this Marine going to go back up the left-hand side, escaping away one more time here. Oracle's going to gather back up as well. Charge continues 3+1 attack. Extra gates. All of this continues to build. It does feel as though herO's got enough control of this game. I mean, you're talking about a 16-worker lead again. So he's right back into that position of just being very comfortably placed. His economy's back to being heavily advantaged. And yeah, that's looking pretty good. As our Oracles would like to maybe dive in again. Just going to see the couple tanks unsieging. The Marines would like to maybe pick off those Oracles, but not quite able to. And Marauders will stim, looking for Stalkers, force them to blink backward again, and just keep them out of the equation. As best as possible. Doing a pretty good job of it, as our Bioforce continues to push on through. I'm just going to pull the SCVs, don't mind it. I think it's the smart choice, right? He knows he's behind. He's got to do something a bit more kind of serious if he wants to make his way back into this. Trying to play a long game against someone as aggressive as herO probably just isn't worth it when you're in this kind of spot as Clem. So try and take advantage now where your army might still be at its strongest point to be able to contest. He needs the tanks, though. The tanks, even against the Zealots, can do something at least, making some progress here early. As GG is called, Clem is going to take a loss in this first game. herO's harass an early game. Just a little bit too strong, a little bit too crazy, a little bit too much. And it is going to be herO taking that first game of this best of 5. Good game from herO. Aggressive, right? Just kind of find the right fights. And very patient with his aggression, too. Didn't launch on one Oracle. Waited for the second. Knew it maybe wasn't enough. Really just patient, and then boom. Gets a tank, gets SCVs. Just the combination of things, knowing that he's going to eventually be able to have a chance to put himself ahead. It's the sort of patience that makes him such a scary player, because his aggression isn't just blind aggression. It's not just like he's, you know, one of these guys on the ladder. It's like, I'm just going to attack you at every possible opportunity, and just like, okay, well, I'll just play particularly safe. He kind of hides away the aggression, then he's like, boom, bang. And you can't just play overly safe because he's very good at just waiting to abuse that as well, right? So, yeah, herO bottom right is up one and just a very scary opponent in general. Let's see what Clem does to try and dismantle that a little bit here as we head into game number 2. Again, Cosmic Sapphire is our map. Map number 2 of the best of 5. Obviously, Cosmic Sapphire is typically going to become one of the come into this as one of the Protoss map picks. Pretty large. Sometimes the gold base is something which herO especially likes to utilize. And herO proxy in a pylon already again, just off to the side here this time around, so very far forward. A position you actually do see used as the Stargate a lot still, even though it's not kind of off to the sides, just because it's one of the awkward ones to scout. It's fast enough. This could also just be a secondary gateway and apply some gateway unit pressure early. I think we are going to see the Stargate, though. I think that's going to become the plan here. So, yeah, herO with a plan. Just be aggressive again. I mean, immediately, SCV, no Nexus. Sees the Zealot walking to move across the map. So, immediately, Clem is somewhat aware of what's going on. This time, he goes Command Center before he goes Factory. So, he'll be on a little bit of a more difficult defense because he's actually trying to hold the low ground from the very beginning this time. So Clem is immediately in a little bit more trouble in that regard as our Reaper comes through and chasing that probe is going to get the kill on it. I mean, the probe saw that the barracks was producing Marines and not a reactor. That's almost definitely something that Clem just has to keep doing now because you can't really move into anything else when you're, yeah, you can't really move into anything else in this situation because obviously if you build the reactor and the units arrive, you only have a Reaper, you're going to be in some trouble, so... Again, a couple Marines out first and using them well. Good micro against the Zealot and should be able to hunt that down unless the Stalker gets here or the Adept gets here soon enough. There's the Adept. Reaper is very close to finishing off the Zealot, but not quite close enough. Zealot goes down. One of the Marines goes down as well. Now the Adept is in trouble. I actually think this Adept dies, so here a little miss micro. Could have pulled that Adept further away, perhaps. Obviously, the Reaper able to kind of get some extra shots off when it helps. You look at Clem, just double checking. He's already aware that maybe behind this aggression, herO takes the gold base to have an even stronger follow-up, for example. Oracle just flies straight through. First SCV going down. Second will go down 2 moments from the missile turret being finished. Just a little frustrating there. As our Oracle still trying to go after SCVs. 2 eggs have fallen. Just going to see the Reaper Marine together. It's going to come forward and try to pick their way through the Adept, and they will grab themselves the kill. Just going to be able to pick that off, and so yeah, SCV moving back across into the base for the moment. Nice little pick off on the side. Oracle will get rid of the Reaper here, though. It's just going to pick that off, and Cyclone beginning to move through the front. The Marine Cyclone all joining up together. Just going to see this Oracle is going to be finishing off in a moment or so. All 3 of these Oracles just blasting on forward. It's going to come straight in. Activate on toward the Cyclone. The Marine's going to be there and fighting against the Oracles. Oracles continue to take a bit of a whacking, but we'll fight back, and the Cyclone gets a lock on good enough to push them away. 2 SCVs only going down really could have been much worse as well, of course. As the single Adept shades by through the natural towards the main base. The depots get raised, though. That will be blocked. Just going to be seeing the 2 additional gates still coming through on the side of herO. Oh, no, the Adept shades straight into this Cyclone. Cyclone with the immediate pickoff of the Adept. Now this Oracle just going to come moving forward. Will set up the Stasis Ward. Just try and catch Clem if he moves out too soon, moves out a bit too carelessly. Anything to try and slow him down, right? You know, you're in one of these situations where you look at what's being lost. An Oracle, a good few gate units. It's definitely plausible that Clem perhaps comes across the map and has a very good push, especially when you've built 4 Oracles, because that's now a lot of investment onto Stargate units. that aren't necessarily the best at being able to just stand up and fight back. Comes down the left side from Clem. Just going to be seeing the oracles in the center from herO gathering together. And just going to be seeing our Cyclones come straight through. Getting a lock-on for a moment, but they back away, losing vision, so the lock-ons are lost pretty much immediately. Stalker doesn't go down. Again, the Cyclone's having trouble. Massive stasis ward catches a bunch of Clem's units. Well, it's going to buy him a little bit of time for Stim to finish, funnily enough, but it's also buying you a lot of time for the batteries to finish here defensively from herO. The Marines are going to be stuck there for just a few extra seconds. Do you have another revelation coming through from the oracles, so hitting the bio group of bio units one more time. Picking my bio units stimming out. Stalker's going to be chased a bit. Super batteries popping, pushing these Stalkers back around for just a little while. Another stasis out the front catches 2 Marines and a Marauder, so a nice catch there. As that bio army is going to turn straight onto this Stargate. The Stargate will go down immediately. The pylon as well. And the triple oracles is going to come through and try and grab an SCV straight away. So the SCV going to get picked off, and the oracle locked onto for a moment there by the Cyclone. Cyclone is eventually going to get hunted down. Is this oracle going to go down too? No. So one of the oracles dies. The other couple staying alive for the moment at least. As we have the Bioforce still heading down to the south in general. Looks like it gets a little lock on Oracle, taking more damage. Knock the stasis ward down, so it's going to be able to get rid of that straight away. The Bio still trying to move to the frontier. Again, +1 attack, a blink continuing through from herO. Bioforce continues forwards. Our Stalker's taking some extra shots. Again, that Bioforce of Clem just splitting and keeping this pressure up. herO's army is just obviously badly upgraded because, again, it's just so much investment into initial oracles. We built 5 in total, and so not even having Blink right now is obviously a huge mishap. I mean, that just... Not having Blink when the Terran has this amount of support available, this amount of upgrades of their own. Yeah, congratulations. Blink finished as you hit 4 supply because you had no other units left. That's not really going to cut it here, right? That's just not really going to get the job done. And Clem ties up the scene. On the bottom left-hand side, our blue Terran player here is Team Liquid's Clem. And he just tied it up 1-1. Oracle troubles for him in the first game. Oracle's managed in the second. Has been kind of the storyline of this series so far. In the top right, herO. Well, he's been loving that proxy Stargate. We'll see if he wants to love it one more time. Going into game number 3. Or if he has maybe some other plans. Obviously, yeah, it'd be kind of crazy if he just kept on proxy Stargating game after game after game, right? I mean, that would be a little bit, no more extreme than we expected to be when it comes to herO applying aggression and kind of playing in some of these crazy ways and stuff. So, yeah, expecting this to look different game by game still. Let's see what he chooses to do this time around as the barracks goes down from Clem over on the main base. Just going to get that set up. Get started with that straight away. Next is coming through Gateway Building. Barracks coming up on the side of Clem. Just gonna get that cyber core down in the main base, get that set. And yeah, see if we can get back out across over to the upper right. So just gonna be moving back along over in that direction. Need to keep that moving for the moment. Yeah, CV off on a bit of a journey. That will be that for now, more or less. Not really much else to say there. Reaper hops in. Just going to hit the next little bit. Stalker comes to fight back. Once again, one of the more standard openings. Again, factory before we expand as Clem, but it's not like that is really a weirdness anymore in this game. It is something which, again, a year ago, you might be like, man, these Terrans are so cheesy and so aggressive, but this really did just become macro recently, and obviously just going to go into 2 more Reapers and a Hellion here. Continuing to get that set up. As, yeah, all of this just continuing through, and the Orbital Command still cranking out a few more SCVs. The next Rax is going to be brought in as well from Clem. Get that started up as well. These Stalkers just getting set on the front. Gateway and a Robo Facility on the way from herO. Make it 2 gates and a Robo Facility on the way from herO. And yeah, that's Stalker, Warp Gate. All going to finish very soon as well. Stalker comes straight forward. Reaper going to begin to get blasted back. Here comes 3 Reapers and 2 Hellions to move on in, and the Stalker just immediately again pushed straight on out of here. He's going to be going down, and Reapers and Hellions continue through. The Stalker still taking some damage. And that's going to be this Stalker going down as well. As our Hellions get here, our probe still taking damage. 2 workers, 3 workers, wow, 5 workers going down. This is becoming very serious. Clem, early game, is just destroying herO. And I love this. Just sends the Herd Hellion into the main base for the chance it might get 3 shots off to get another kill. The Herd Hellion stays in the natural where, of course, there is already a Stalker. So yeah, just smart move. There was a Stalker in the main, so actually it wasn't so bad. But yeah, it made a lot of sense from Clem. Cute moves, and yeah, just going to be seeing 29, 30 SCVs at the counter right now. 34 probes at present. Marine Marauder tank continuing to produce on the side of Clem. Just going to see this Observer of herO continues through the middle of the map, heading down the bottom left-hand side. Our bunker will be finishing in just a few moments. There's that pylon coming through. A couple of assimilators on the side of herO as well, continue to bring that up. Just going to see our Observer still sitting around, just going to be hanging out overhead here. A couple of Marines just sitting on the depot for now, as the Rax will move off over to the tech lab. Factory moves over to the side as well. Comes the Prism. 4 Stalkers just going to unload in the corner of this base. In they go to try and get some SCVs. 1, 2, 3. Good start. I mean, herO needs to do something. He's ahead on workers, but obviously you want to be a bit more ahead on workers. And with the 4 workers killed, he's now 8 ahead instead of 4 ahead. That's obviously, like I say, the right sort of direction to be heading into. You don't really want to just be 4 workers ahead of a Terran with mules. That actually doesn't put you really ahead at all. So that kind of keeps you in a bit of trouble. So it's good to, kind of just be honest about that a lot of the time. Temple Archives, Immortal Charge. herO tech's up behind all this, taking that 3rd base as well. Putting that in position. Kind of start saturating it, but we are going to have this timing of Clem once more. This Stim Combat Shield finishing up, opening the door to this bio, being able to get across the map and to get all feisty. Definitely expecting something to come from there as our probes continue on the 3rd base. We're just going to see a couple of sentries warping in, currently on the natural. Our Marines coming across, Prism taking some damage. I'm just going to get that pushed away through the south side. This was a Cyclone, right? I mean, Cyclone's not exactly, again, the craziest of things to keep a hold of right now. It's not the end of the world to be losing out on that. Our bio continues to make its way out to the upper right-hand side. So, again, coming through the center, aiming towards the top. Sizable army from Clem as the first 2 High Temple unload. Looking for some storms perhaps as we had a feedback on the medevac. I mean, that's actually not bad. Take away the healing from this bio push. Once Clem once again in position, he has the siege tank setting up. He's got to be very careful of the storm. He actually feedback again though. I'm saying storm as though there actually is storm. He's playing like the storm with the High Templar flying around. There was not storm, it was just the feedbacks he was hunting for. We did kill the Prism, stopping the warp in, but the tank goes down and just the 2 Immortals and the Archon a little bit too tanky here. I guess, sorry. I mean, herO's really flying around as though the guy who has Storm on these High Templar. He doesn't, and I'm just like, wait, what? Yeah, he was like, he just hits the feedback. I'm like, oh, cool. Yeah, okay, naturally. Starts up Storm now, which I think is eventually, was in my head as kind of part of his plan here in the long run, but it took a little while to really get it going. Finally making a bit of progress in that regard, as we just see SCV, a little bit of bio, gathering up and pulling over the left-hand side for a few moments. Just going to be seeing our medevac of Widow Mines, boosting back up through the top over the left. And this push of Clem, a little bit of Marine Marauder coming through, taking the watchtower and continuing maybe through the top side. Maybe could aim itself toward the third base of the Protoss player. It feels like if he wants to do that, he also needs his reinforcements being medevacs heading to the main base, though. Start stretching herO's defenses thin. Just hitting one location against herO is quite often just not going to cut it. I don't expect it to cut it here. And yeah, we'll see if Clem has then an answer as to how he is actually going to start breaking through herO's defenses, because again, with Storm now up, the splash damage being available is only going to make this that much more challenging. Stalkers warping in on the Prism, the Zealots coming through underneath, and the Widow Mine initially was trying to line up a shot. Our Stalkers will kill off that mine, and just going to be seeing our bio will begin to stim. First Storm will hurt the Zealots more than it hurts the bio. Honestly, pretty darn good splits from Clem. I mean, you couldn't have avoided the Storms better than that. He kills a lot of the Zealots that were softened up from the Storms as well, but does he have enough to fight everything else? Those 4 Mortals are going to be quite the burden to work through. They're just so hefty when it comes to their defenses, their shields, and their barriers. That orbital command is not going to be shot down. SCVs get to the repair. The third base is saved. At the same time, the counterattack from Clem's been brilliant. He's killed 13 probes. Widow Mine drop being hugely successful. So, for all the SCVs he has been losing, herO's been losing a lot as well. And jumping forward here gets a bunch of kills on the tail end of this as herO recalls home. Needs to clean out these Widow Mines before they fire again. One of them actually might get a chance to fire. I think it will. It is going to fire this one over here. Kills 7 more probes. Stalker gets busted also. Massive connection from the Widow Mine. And Clem comes out of this on honestly an okay economy, considering his third base will re-land. He was so close to losing that third CC as well. If he'd lost that, it would have been problematic. Instead, it looks pretty reasonable as our Bioforce gets set in the center. Ghosts, medevacs, all producing from Clem right now. All of this on the way out. A few extra Marines as well, all being brought into play. And this army of Clem needs to decide what it wants to do, as he's currently hanging around in the middle. Got a few Zealots going to come via the watchtower here. Take that for just a few moments, and our observer is going to kind of keep track of the medevac and Bioforce as well. Clem splits around to the upper left-hand side. The Zealots will pull off of the watchtower. Clem intercepted a little bit, and how's this fight going to go? He's got some ghosts. EMP's been nice. He needs kind of EMPs on everything, though. He needs EMPs on Archons, Zealots, High Templar. The Templar dropping out of the Prism, hitting some decent storms. This storm's big as well. Clem moves into it a little bit, so that hurts quite nastily as they continue forward. Archons and Stalkers, the Immortal 2, all pressing forward. The few SCVs begin to pull on in. Immortals chasing as well. A lot of SCVs going down, and Marauders stimming as they continue to back it up. A couple of Zealots will charge. Orbital command is getting low again. Second time Clem's retreating the third base. This time, don't think he'll save it. He will not save the game along with it, as that is going to be GG's. herO is going to find the game number 3 here, and a 2-1 advantage in this best of 5 then. As, yeah, good game. I mean, I was down 1-2 in the top right side. Our blue Terran player from Team Liquid is Clem. Up against that red Protoss in the bottom left-hand side, it is herO. Obviously, he's from Dragon Phoenix Gaming. Not sure I mentioned his team, but obviously been on DPG for quite some time. DPG played onside in World Team League yesterday, guys. If you missed that, fantastic series. Included Maru fighting against herO in that best of 7. Missed out on that. Can only recommend watching it. The VOD's on the Twitch channel. If you want to watch the YouTube video, it'll probably be up in probably a couple of weeks, honestly. We're kind of jam-packed on the YouTube. We've got so many cool matches to upload, but we're just a little bit behind on the YouTube schedule. So, like I say, just a bit behind there in general. prop in production. Gateway about to finish. And let's see where we go on Tropical Sacrifice. And it's kind of fun, right? So far, I feel like we've definitely... I mean, Data C map 3 kind of makes me wonder what the maps Clem veto were. I mean, best of 5, so you get 1 veto. You're playing Cosmic... Probably vetoed Stargazers, right? I just wonder then, did Clem pick Data C over a Moondance or a Waterfall, whichever one herO didn't veto? You'd have to assume so. I wonder if it's just the size of those maps. He'd rather play like a longer, larger map against herO because he's a bit afraid of the, aggression herO might bring or so. That's my only explanation for picking, Data C earlier in the series than picking a Moondance or Waterfall, whichever one, like I say, wasn't vetoed by herO. Is that quite interesting? CV back across the upper right side. And the Adept gonna start chasing across, see what it can do. Obviously, no Zealot early or anything like that from herO this game. It is a long map. He knows it's a long map. He knows there's no point in trying to get an early Zealot across to try and deal damage. Not against someone who is, quite frankly, as solid as Clem is defensively. Just doesn't really make sense to try and sneak that in and to try and get that done, right? So it's going to stay clear of that for the moment, as the Adept number 2 is going to be joining up. So we're going to have 2 Adepts together into the middle. These 2 Adepts combined will try and fight these Marines. Obviously being able to kite out of range every now and then is nice, and obviously using the Adept Shades to watch for the line of sight blocker there is nice. Otherwise the Marines could have maybe tried to pull a trick to get close to the Adept, stop the kiting back. That maybe could have turned things into their favor. So herO again utilizing what he can to kind of stay ahead of the, trying to stay ahead of that players. Yeah, that's nice. He maybe could have done a bit better here because he didn't have to double hit that low HP Marine before. Then he would have just been 1 hit ahead already. So you can argue if you want to a little tiny bit that herO's micro could have been slightly better here. He could have executed in a little bit of a smoother, cleaner way. There's the 2 Hellions trying to hit the Adept as well. Oracle is coming over, as it's going to start causing some chaos. We killed a lot of Marines. Do we have the anti-air necessary to defend against the Oracle? It's going to get rid of the first Hellion here. So any Hellion attacks are now pretty much written off the table already as well. And you see the Widow Mine burrowing to at least protect in the main mineral line. Oh, but the second mine in the right-hand side shoots and scores on the Oracle. Get that pick off. Big deal, right? I mean, good to get rid of an Oracle because it slows down a lot more of what herO can do. Now Oracle's not going to be anywhere near as useful harassing mineral lines. Nowhere near as scary harassing mineral lines. Yeah, makes life a lot easier. Uh-oh, herO just going to fly straight into Widow Mine 2. He was assuming the drop would have had all the Widow Mines in, but that's not true. And the second Oracle goes down. Painful. Really painful. And, yeah, that's just going to be 2 losses from herO that are, quite frankly, uncharacteristic. One, you get caught not paying attention, sure, but the second one, I think, is... I think it's an assumption of what Clem is doing, and he just assumes that this medevac would have all the mines in, so he's safe to come back in with the Oracle right there. Oh, and herO's a little bit flustered as well, losing 2 probes to the 1 mine shot there. That was unnecessary. Does lift and kill this other mine as we try and come in. Oh my god, the same Widow Mine in position, and the Adepts nearly took a beating from the Widow Mine this time around, as the medevac too also got away because the Phoenix busies themselves with the mine. They actually, the medevac is making an escape as, Cyclone shows up and makes these Adepts second guess themselves about their commitment here. If the Cyclone had landed, if the Viking had landed slightly sooner, this would have been at least 1 more dead Adept, but not quite the case, as you do have Cyclone, Viking, Marine Mine, a bit of everything. Starting to move forward. I mean, you got to be careful, right? There's definitely a world where this is not super great for you, as herO shades in with the Adepts. The SCV pull will kill the Adepts. Lost mine time, but only 1 SCV dying, and Clem continuing his push. Through the center of the map we go. The Adept does spot those first few units. Seeing those immediately causes Clem to, seeing the Adept and herO knowing that those units are there means that Clem reconsiders, and he actually decides to pull back. So he decides to pull away now. Once again, Tank, Marines, Cyclone, and Vikings gathering in the natural. Our engineering bay on the back of the natural setting up as well. Let's move into the main, finding some SCVs. Of course, this is one of the cool things about the Phoenix at this stage of a game. They're just very good harassing, right? They can come in, they can hit a mineral line, They can get rid of some SCVs, and that's just something they can do on repeat pretty much. They can do that almost non-stop. They're just very, very annoying units to be playing against in this kind of a game. As a few Stalkers, an Adept, all moving forward as well. herO is making an advance through the middle of the map toward the upper right side. He's going to get into and on top of this natural expansion, as he's not got Blink or anything. Just Phoenix and a group of Stalkers. This Widowmine shoots again, hurting the Phoenix quite a bit. The Stalkers try and kill it, but not quite getting the chance. And the Vikings feeling brave, getting in range to try and get some shots off. Not quite going to be able to finish off that Stalker. Still taking just a few additional hits as well. Here comes our Lib. Comes in, sieges up a lot of probes. Gonna have to pull out of here as a couple already begin to go down. 2 workers being picked off immediately. Our Phoenix are gonna come straight through, picking away at this Liberator, which is gonna go down. So Liberator will fall. And here comes the Bioforce of Clem, making a move to the left. Straight in we go, getting rid of our first Stalker, and others beginning to drop also. Cyclone with the lock on. Phoenix takes some damage. A bit of back and forth continuing there. Clem's going to get himself right down over here into position. Really going to be able to set up and a couple of tanks make this difficult. Again, herO doesn't really have the splash. Another game where herO's tech is kind of delayed. It's just Blink Store because he doesn't have charge finished. Because he has the Phoenix supporting, but Phoenix into Blink is something that is quite difficult to pull off. And I feel like right now, you're kind of seeing why, as Clem, it's just not really a composition from herO that can fight. And Clem, even without, well, he just now finished the +1 to even out the upgrades. And he was already dominating before his +1 finished. And the probes obviously don't last very long. The tanks are under attack. They're trying to clean those up with a couple of units. The Zealots did clean them up in the end, but and these are slow Zealots. They do not have charge, which means that the Zealots go down very quickly. They're not really useful at all against the Bio, and I mean, Clem just keeps on pushing forward. There's a battery that's out of energy here. A new Immortal pops out to try and aid in this defense. Is it enough? Clem's already wiped out the third base, remember, as he gets rid of these couple Stalkers. This Immortal cannot stand up for itself either, and Clem is going to take this to 2-2 tied up on this best of 5. We will go to our 5th and final map. As in the bottom right side, our blue Terran player from Team Liquid, Clem. Top left, our red Protoss is going to be herO from Dragon Phoenix Gaming. As we get into map number 5 of this series, we got this one set up and ready to begin. Pylons on the way in, probe coming up, refinery building on the side of Clem. All of this on the way for the moment. Obviously, it's the first few moments you'd be kind of surprised and shocked and horrified, quite frankly, if it was not super normal here, really, wouldn't we? We'd have to be a little bit appalled that someone had done something that crazy, but first few moments. It is a short map, though, remember, and that might lead to certain aggression a bit further down the line. Definitely one of the things we've got to be having a bit of a watch out for here. Something to keep thinking about throughout these early stages, for sure. No doubt about that. Getting an engineering bay block is actually kind of fun because Clem gonna not have done this previously in the series. He's now gonna get a lot of HP on this before herO even thinks about checking for it, and he says, oh, okay. If herO just takes the in base, then Clem just cancels and says, cool, you're limiting yourself by 2 entire mineral patches early in the game, and you're gonna be down in an entire gas. So it limits what you can do. You can't do any kind of like 2-base Colossus here or Phoenix Colossus because you just don't have access to a 4th gas quickly enough. So Clem will be very aware of that, and also still kind of benefits from the base not being immediately on the natural, so it's a little bit of a longer, distance for probes to run when they initially spawn from the main and transfer down there, for example, and all those kind of things. That obviously makes quite a difference, as depot at the front will lower down the reactor building on the barracks. Our factory is just a couple of moments away as well. Get that completed in a sec. As the factory finishes, we start up a little tech lab. I'm just going to have XCC building from Clem in the main base as well. So getting that command center up and running. That's why I can still building on the side of herO. Our Adept just going to go shading forward too, try and see what it can get up to in the next little while. Not a lot just yet. As that shade comes over, just going to end up canceling a little. And yeah, just going to be seeing our command center building on the side of Clem. So get that CC building up. About halfway done at the moment. It's going to see some probes getting into the back of this natural expansion. Getting in over there and getting all nicely set. That goes for cheeky shade into the natural and toward the main base. Two Marines still coming out. Cyclone building on the factory. The Cyclone actually comes forward and starts to lock straight onto this Adept. So Adept can take quite a bit of damage and is indeed going to fall. So Adept is downed. Link is halfway done. Just going to be seeing a few Marines pressing forward. Robo facility coming through. The couple of batteries still producing tech lab on the barracks of Clem. So all of that continuing to get established here. So I'm pretty aggressive, obviously just kind of moving forward, utilizing the size of the map to get across quickly and get into position, get into a threatening place here against herO. herO's defending well, and he's about to have his blink, and he's going to have 3 gates, so not the kind of all-out 4-gate aggression, but 3 gates enough to keep up a good bit of pressure while still looking towards a faster third, which I do think we need. I don't think we could have done anything that delays the third too much, because in this case the third is going to be the first full base you have in addition to your main, because of that backward in-base expand being taken initially. I think, yeah, you can't do like a 4-gate that delays the third a whole bunch, because you just won't have as much saturation as you really need to keep that up, or as much saturation as you could potentially usually get. You know, instead of 44 workers, you're sort of talking about, what, 41, 37? So it's like a 7 worker difference, 7 or 8 worker difference in terms of being able to fully saturate that in-base, kind of backward base, versus the normal natural. Like I say, that's definitely pretty notable as our Stalkers continue to rally forward here then. So a few of them will make some steps toward the natural here. Going to start pinging away an SCV and a Mule. As the SCV taken down, you can tell there for a moment as we blink straight on forward. Insta-kill on a Cyclone. Tank wasn't sieged immediately, so Stalkers didn't take a lot of damage in the first few moments. As again, Clem very quick to sim in combat shield behind this. Once more back to that 3 racks before we see any sort of starport play. That's something he's kept kind of reverting to here in the last little while. Something we just kind of keep falling back to in general as Bio sets up. Stalkers begin to blink up into the main. Stimpack is going to be about halfway done. The Marauder is going to be still building on the barracks as well. Our Bio trying to fight the Stimpack is going to go down. Oh dear. That's very bad, obviously, as SCVs fall. 4 SCVs go down. No stim is rough for Clem. The only saving grace is that he's getting quite a few of these Stalkers, including herO not finding the correct Stalker lift on the Prism there to escape from the Cyclone lock-on. Stalkers blink forward. Uh-oh, that might have been a mistake as well, as the Bio does a great job in pushing those Stalkers back, getting them out of here. Shut down and get out, basically, as the Cyclone comes through, locks onto the Prism. That Prism taking a lot more damage is just not quite good. Oh my god, it is going to fall. I thought the Cyclone lost its lock-on. Oh dear, herO just lost everything. You don't make me wrong. Stim is down for Clem. Does that stop the power of just even unstimmed Bio and tanks? On a short map like Moondens, I think this genuinely is still an issue. I think this genuinely is still problematic as we begin to make our way out across to the top left-hand side. Away we go. Clem beginning to make his move. A bit of Bio getting there. Stalker's taking some hits. Continuing through, and the Stalker's taking quite a lot of shots. As we continue into this, the siege tanks will follow. And like I said, I mean, there's just not a lot of army from herO. He is going to pull the probes. The tanks target fire the Stalkers, and the Bio target fire the battery as well, which makes a lot of sense. The Stalkers are not getting any healing. And Clem is going to win this on the counter-attack. GG. Clem gets the 3-2 victory over herO. Just like that. Wow. Bam.